everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's kind of a rainy day today, and it's a perfect time to spend some quiet time down in the craft room. And I decided to kind of dig into my September House of Books kit and do some projects with it. And I have done some collaging in the past, and I've really enjoyed it. And I've recently found a lot of YouTubers that create masterboards, and I thought, what a fun thing to do with this big kit that I have. And I wanted to show you kind of my setup here first before I get started. I normally am over on my bigger craft, or my, not bigger craft table, but it's my scrapbook table over kind of in the middle of my room. But since I'm going to be filming today, I wanted to have everything over at my card making desk. So I kind of have this little setup here that I actually really like. I've got everything kind of set up on my desk here. I'm going to be creating the masterboards with this cardstock that I have. This is actually cardstock that I'm not using. For those of you that make cards and also do scrapbook layouts using white cardstock, you'll know what I'm talking about. I have a very particular need to use like bright white cardstock when I make cards, also scrapbooking layouts too, but for my card making, I like a really bright white cardstock. And my favorite is from Cut Cardstock. I was on their design team for a couple of years, and they have really good white cardstock. It's great with Copic markers. Plus, it has a really nice thickness to it, and it's just my favorite. It's very bright white, and if you compare it to other cardstocks, you can definitely see the difference. So I've pretty much switched over to it's called Cougar Super Smooth White, and I'll put a link to it because it really is one of my favorites. But anyway, so I use Cougar Smooth White all the time, and I have a lot of extra older white cardstock that I'm not using. I usually just use it for like if I want to make like paint palettes or like do some ink blending on it or something like that. I just use it kind of for scrap. And I thought what I would do was create masterboards using these as kind of like my base. So I have a few of these 8.5 by 11 sheets that I'm going to make some masterboards, and I'm actually going to do a few this month. I'll make some different videos with them. But for those of you who don't know what a masterboard is, and I actually just learned this as I was kind of doing my research, I guess it's kind of like just like a big collage that you make that you can cut up and use for other projects, which I think is a great idea too. And I was thinking, since I like to make cards, and I've been wanting to make kind of collage style cards. That was kind of on my list of things to do with my House of Books ephemera kit. I wanted to kind of do some collaging on the fronts of cards. But I thought, what a great idea to make a masterboard, cut it up, and actually use those as the pieces as backgrounds on my card fronts, and then just add kind of a nice sentiment or something like that, and then call it a day and have the card be finished, rather than directly create a collage on the card front itself. I feel like you could end up making a lot of mistakes, and maybe it's not what you want it to look like. So I thought doing the masterboard would be great, because then you can, turn those things into backgrounds. So that's what I'm planning on doing today. So I'm just going to kind of create and have fun with all of my papers from a House of Books. So I've got, in the September kit, there's just a variety of different dictionary pages and just kind of text backgrounds and books. And I've got a little basket of ephemera here that came in the kit. And I'm actually using my fold away cart. It's a rolling cart that I actually picked up on Amazon that I love. I rolled this over here and unfolded it, and I actually put my, you've seen this before, this little divider organizer I have, where I kind of set up all of my House of Books kit, because it's so big. I just kind of spread out all the pages and kind of organize them, but this fit perfectly on the top of this cart. So I usually have it on the table over there, but instead I set it up in here and then just put my pages here, and then I just have this little basket sitting right next to it, and it works out great. And then I have the tiers that I can put other things on too. So I kind of picked a few things that I really liked, and so I have that all set up here, along with what I think is another great idea using masterboards, is to use up your old paper scraps, which I've been trying to find something to use them for. I have this box of large scraps. It's just basically scrapbooking scraps from, when you cut apart, or even, when you make a journal pages and signatures, you cut apart scrapbook paper and then you've got pieces left over. So I have a big box of colorful scrapbook pieces that I thought would be a great way to kind of combine the bright colors of the scrapbook papers with kind of the more vintage looking papers of my House of Books ephemera kit. So I kind of get the best of both worlds. I get this kind of vintagey look, but I always like to add a little pop of color, and I think the pop of color is going to be the pieces of scrapbook paper. And then along with this, I'm going to add in my huge array of Maggie Holmes flower ephemera. I have so much of it, and it's time to get using it. And I think, again, a Masterboard is a great place to put this, because then you can make the big collage and then use it for other things. So I have some Maggie Holmes, a lot of different ephemera pieces and cards and things like that. I also pulled out my drawer of, this is Prima, different like floral cards and ephemera from Prima. So they have a lot of really pretty colors that I thought would kind of go along with the Maggie Holmes, and then also the kind of vintage look of my House of Books kit. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started. Oh, one more thing too. Let me show you some of my supplies. I also added some washi tape, and I'm probably will add more things once I kind of get the board kind of set up with the papers and glued down. I'm sure I'm going to be adding more little pieces of ephemera to layer on top, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. So further down when I make the video, you'll kind of see as I add more things. But I've got my cardstock here, and then I also have just a few tools here. I've got my guillotine trimmer, which I like to use this style because of the delicate papers in the vintage kit. It's better to cut them with something like a guillotine trimmer rather than a slide trimmer, which I normally use for card making, because you don't want the pages to rip accidentally. So they're so delicate and thin. I also have matte medium, which I'm going to be using for my adhesive, as well as this glue stick here. And then, and then I use this little foam applicator for the matte medium to kind of spread an even amount onto the pieces that I'm going to add to the Masterboard. And then I have my fabric scissors, which I may be adding some fabric pieces. I'm going to see how this goes as I get started. And then just a ruler that has the straight edge that I can use to kind of help me tear some papers. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the camera overhead, and then I'm going to get started. So I'm starting off with a piece of scrapbook paper, just pretty pink kind of geometric design, and I'm using my glass media mat because I'm using a lot of different glue, so it keeps everything easy to clean up. And I'm just right now I'm putting everything down with matte medium. It's a nice watery adhesive. I kind of like that, but you'll see I eventually switch over to a glue stick because I'm noticing that the pieces, the cardstock is buckling a little bit with it. So I'm thinking probably glue stick and tape runner are probably a better option. But if you like that kind of textural feel of the kind of buckling of the glue, then I think that matte medium is definitely the way to go. And I'm using some of the vintage book pages from my House of Books vintage kit, and I'm trying to kind of keep the colors more on the lighter side. Some of the book pages have more patina on them, so they're more yellowed, but some are a little bit of more brighter. Still patinaed, but they have a little bit of brighter color. So I'm kind of picking some of those. And here's where I switch over to my glue stick. And I like this glue stick because it's got the blue on it, so you can kind of see where you're putting everything. So I like using book pages as the backgrounds because it kind of gives the texture. It doesn't really matter what you use, I think, as the background. I mean, if you want to keep a theme, then you can kind of choose your book pages accordingly. But I kind of just sort of stick to what looks good in the background. And I always have to incorporate flowers. And I love the kits, always have some great wildflower photographs and book pages and things like that. So I definitely wanted to add one of those. And I think it goes well with the little Maggie Holmes pieces that I'm choosing too. I'm trying not to think too hard as I'm putting this together, but I can't help but still kind of, you know, want everything to kind of look neat and kind of fit together nicely. So I'm doing my best. And then I have this little piece of scrap paper that I just thought would look good in the corner. And the collage is kind of turning into kind of a pink, mint green, white color combination. I think that's kind of what I end up gravitating toward. And I really want to use this little invoice sheet, so I'm going to figure out how to incorporate that in. And then I have this sheet of, it's like a embossed scrapbook paper. I think I got it from Hobby Lobby a really long time ago. I love it. It's kind of got a shimmer to it, and I thought that would look pretty with this too. So I want to get a kind of see what I need to add to it. So I'm just going to trim off everything. And I'm actually using my big guillotine trimmer. I did a video a while back comparing guillotine trimmers, and this one I think has become the winner because I use it all the time. I love the measurements at the top. It measures down to the 1/4 of an inch. And I think this one, kind of the We Are Memory Keepers one, can kind of cut a little bit thicker items too. So, but this is nice because you can just get a nice clean edge, trim it off. So this is that kind of like the first layer of my collage. I need to add more. There's a lot of empty spaces, but I kind of like the way this looks so far. It's kind of like just kind of a safe, basic look. So off camera, I kind of did a little bit of experimenting and added a few more things. I haven't adhered everything down yet. I was kind of seeing what it looked like. It definitely needed some more layers, so I think this is going to look really good. So I grabbed some of the Maggie Holmes ephemera, and I'm just putting on this vellum flower here with some tape runner. And this Tombow tape runner works really well with vellum. You can't even see the tape behind it. And then I'm just going to layer another flower on top of it. And then you'll see I added some washi tape there. That's Maggie Holmes washi tape. Kind of coordinates the colors. So I'm going to layer that. I also added the Crystal Candy Company invoice from my vintage kit. I thought I ended up doing it kind of on its side there, and I thought that looks good like that. And then I'm just kind of overlapping a couple of the ephemera cards. I didn't film the whole thing because this took me a while to kind of arrange everything and kind of figure out what looks good and what doesn't look good. So, but I'm really liking this so far. It's not super layered, but it's got a couple of layers on it. And I feel like this needs something like this here. But that red piece was just a little bit too dark. So I think this is going to work. This is another little Maggie Holmes ephemera piece. I'm going to find something else too to kind of layer underneath it. So I'm just testing it out. And I end up finding just this little mint green square that I'm going to kind of layer along with those other pieces over the top of a wildflower book page. It's so funny. I always end up going in this color direction. I can't help it. I just really love the way these colors look together. I know I need to branch out, but I guess, it's supposed to be about what you like. So this is what I like. These are the colors I like. And I'm so glad I'm going to really start using more of my ephemera pieces because I have so much of it. I recently got some of the new Maggie Holmes parasol collection. So I'm excited to use that too. So I think this is just about done. I'm just kind of moving this little square a little bit. And then I think I want to add one more thing. I was trying to kind of trying to make the design triangle where you kind of have a little, like kind of 3 of everything, like 3 pink things, 3 mint green things, maybe like another washi tape kind of on the bottom. I think I'm going to add in a minute, just to kind of balance the collage a little bit. So I'm just trimming off that little piece there. And then again, I'm trying to figure out if I need to add anything in kind of the empty spaces. Since I'm kind of new to this, I'm kind of playing it safe. So
I'm going to try to get more adventurous later and kind of add more layers, because there's some people that put so many layers and it looks so good. So I definitely want to try something like that. With the washi tape, when I put it on a project like this, I add some tape runner to the back of it because, you know, washi tape isn't permanent really. So I want to make sure that it stays down because I am using this for card fronts when I cut it up. So that's what I was doing, just adding a little bit of tape runner to the washi piece. So I just want to kind of balance the collage by using the same washi tape. I was going to use a different one, but I just thought the same one would look good. So just kind of adding that, and I think this is pretty much finished. I feel like I kind of need something in the middle there, but I don't know. I'm going to wait because I'm going to be cutting it horizontally so that I can fit it onto 4 card fronts. So I'm going to, so the cardstock is 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to cut it in half the long way, 4 1/4 at the 4 1/4 mark. And then I'm going to just flip it horizontally and cut it at the 5.5 mark. So I should get a lot of collage, good collage pieces on each card. I think it'll look really good. And I love the way this turned out. I mean, these could be little postcards too, but I'm excited to turn these into card fronts.
Okay, so now I'm ready to put the cards together. And so what I did was I took just some a folded note card. This is from Cardstock. It's their Bright White Cougar. I forget what I'll put a link to them. They're just kind of pre-folded note cards. I noticed when I put these cards together, I don't know what happened when I cut the main masterboard apart. There were 2 pieces that were even. I don't know if I might have cut them wrong, but so basically what I want to do is use this as just a basic background and put a sentiment. These 2 fit perfectly, whereas the other 2 have kind of a little extra space, not even 1/4 of an inch, like maybe 1/8 of an inch or something right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down, and I'm going to pop this up with foam tape and give it a little bit of a different look. So I'll have 2 kind of popped up with foam tape with kind of a little white border around it, and then 2 that have just a full background of the collage. And I think that'll look really good. So that's a good way to kind of maybe fix the mistakes, you know, that you have. It's not a huge mistake, but you know, just kind of fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what let me do it right now. I'll show you what I want to do with the sentiment. So I have, I just picked a sentiment, 1 sentiment for all the cards, the same sentiment. This is a sentiment staples from Paper Tray Ink, and I like this sentiment. It just has a lot of basic just notes on it, and then some little sayings below it. But I'm just going to use the just a note because I like to have note cards that are just blank inside that you can send off to somebody. Really simple and easy. So I'm going to use this kind of cursive looking just a note, and I already went ahead and I stamped it on a piece of just white cardstock and trimmed it out pretty close to the edges. I left a little bit of a border. And then I went through my Maggie Holmes ephemera, and I was trying to find kind of a backing for the just a note. I was thinking, I know some people do like an ink blending around it. You could do that too. I don't know. Now I'm thinking I might want to just do that. Just do like, but I feel like I might mess up the ink blending, like where you kind of ink blend along the corners of the sentiment. I don't know. Although it gives more space. What I was thinking of, I'll tell you what I was thinking of doing. I found a couple of these, they're just journal cards, and I was going to kind of put this on top of the journal card to kind of just add another collage element to it, and kind of set it on top like this. So now I don't know. So I guess you could do either. I'm going to, I don't know. Yeah, I think I might just use the journal card because I think it'll add another layer of collage to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, and then I'll show you what everything looks like at the end. Okay, so I finished all the sentiments and everything for the front of the card. So I wanted to just show you the final product here. This was such a fun project. I really love making these masterboards, and I'm having all kinds of ideas on ways to maybe do seasonal ones. And it's a great way to put together quick cards too. I never realized that this was a thing until I kind of discovered it. So this is so fun. I've just really been enjoying kind of this whole journaling journey and collage journey. So let me just go ahead and show you everything. I added the sentiments in a way that made sense on the collage. So I didn't want to cover up anything too important. I didn't want to have too many words kind of jumbled together. So like for this one, I ended up turning it vertically because I was trying to fit the sentiment going this way, but I felt like it was competing with the botanical gardens word and the calligraphy word. So when I turned it on its side here vertically and put the sentiment this way, everything kind of comes together and makes more sense, I think. So I thought this looked really good this way. This is another one where I had to kind of trim off the edges and pop it up with foam tape. This I ended up just putting in the middle because I liked I wanted to make sure you could see the typewriter and all the little bottles and flowers and things like that. So I thought that looked good right there. And then sometimes I notice when you cut the masterboards apart, you might get some areas where there isn't a lot. It's like more empty. So you can always add more stuff onto the collage, with whatever you like. So I ended up just adding this little flower here just because I felt like it kind of pulled everything together. So this one I ended up just doing a horizontal opening card, and I thought that turned out really well. And then the final one with the flowers on it, and I have this kind of over to the side a little bit because to make kind of everything goes kind of in a zigzag a little bit. I thought that looked good too. So 4 easy cards from a small masterboard, and I'm looking forward to trying some more things. I'm thinking maybe fall themed with some October afternoon extras, and also some of my House of Books vintage papers. I think those would go nicely together too. So let me know if you have any questions. And again, I'll be probably doing some more of these collage projects on my channel. I think these are a lot of fun, and I want to do more, definitely. So thanks for joining me today, and be sure to sign up for my newsletter. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I try to put out 2 videos every week. I usually have kind of a craft room type video, a haul, something like that, and then I'll have a project to show. It just kind of depends on how the week is going and how many projects I'm getting done. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.